Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's the Face It Challenger Cup Finals. Adonis here, joined by Anatoly. We saw the European matches go on yesterday's. Put Kettle on advancing into the finals. Abstract as well. They'll both be participating in relegations. But today, we've got 4 North American teams to showcase.
First matchup we're going to see of the day is going to be Evolve versus Cyber Bullies. While on the opposite side, we're going to be seeing a little later on Los Amigos against Tactical Feed. And I'm all very familiar with the tactical feeding.
With the tactical feed, I know you've partaken in it yourself from your mentor, Zapman, of course.
True.
He taught you the ways of tactical feeding. We'll see if they also subscribe to the Zapman channel, see if they are going to just be feeding a lot. But it's okay, it's only a bait. First match, though, Evolve versus Cyber Bullies. Once again, we don't really know too much about these players. They participated in different cups, 8 cups in total to get to the final 8 today, and now we're already down into the semifinals. And so we're going to go into this a little bit raw. What are you expecting out of these teams?
These teams, they've developed a lot of different strategies if they've gotten to this point, because every single stage you're experiencing a different team with a different play style, so you have to prepare with anything that could be thrown at you.
Something to note, guys, these are best of 3. The winners of this semifinals and the next semifinals are automatically going to advance on to relegations. We're also going to be showing the finals as well. That's for prize money. Still pretty important. A nice little bit of pocket change.
Yeah, nice chunk of change. Difference of $1,000 between the winner of the grand finals. But in order to get there, you have to win this best of 3 first.
And let's get into picks and bans here for the first game. Evolve taking on Cyber Bullies. We'll see if Cyber Bullies elect to bully people. You think they're like messaging them in game, or like sending them some like Microsoft messages like, "I'm coming for you. I'm gonna gank you."
Isn't that finable?
Actually, I think it is.
Harassment?
I think you're not allowed to like whisper the other team. I'm pretty sure. Tully, have you ever got in trouble for that?
I mean, I haven't, but I know a couple of players that are very comfortable with their VET and VEL keys.
That good old Omega. Well, we did see actually a lot of normal picks and bans coming out from Europe. Like sometimes when you're looking at amateur teams and Challenger Cup teams, you expect them to draft more for comfortability and less of the meta.
Yeah, especially when you don't know who you're up against. You don't know their specific comfort gods, so you have to be able to just get rid of the gods that you don't normally want to face against primarily, and that's not going to counter your strategy.
Well, surprisingly, Cyber Bulls, they actually ban away Fafnir. A lot of times in that first pick, you don't really want to do that. They're also going to take out Nemesis. On the other side, Evolve take out Erlong Chen and Ao Kwang.
There's Guan Yu, there's Bacchus available, so those are probably, unless they wanted to go for the Athena, a little bit of a flex also could be played in that solo lane position. Cyber Bullies not really revealing too much information because there's a lot of mid gods that will synergize very well with Athena.
I mean, we saw Enemy just this past weekend at the Epsilon Invitational. We saw the Hunbats and the Giannis and the Athena core. I didn't really think it would work out, but just like that purification burner strategy with the Hunbats and Athena really paid off for them. Evolve looking to answer back. They've got their first 2 picks of their own. They have a number of directions to go to. They could go the Susano Raijin, which we see teams favor pretty heavily if both of those are left open.
Normally, whenever you have the Raijin, you want the Nemesis with that just to get that burst damage or something that can easily initiate. So we could see a Thor Raijin, potentially a Fenrir Raijin. That would be a really good synergy between the middle and jungle. But we've been seeing a lot of Neath and Souls out of the European teams, and I was waiting for, I was like, come on, where's the Neath after the Soul pick? But it's going to be Susano. A lot of mobility on the jungle side for Evolve.
And the Soul is still very strong, most notably a flex pick. Looking at both mid and the Hunter role, Soul has this dynamic ability to be a very efficient tower pusher, much like the Kronos, not so much like the Freya, but really works in that dual lane scenario. On the other side, though, Cyber Bully is going to pick up a Ratatoskr. We haven't seen too much out of him.
And we haven't seen too much out of the Scylla either. Both of these are the first time we're going to see it in the Xbox Face It Challenger Cup. So I like the style, though, because you're synergizing it with the Athena. You could have the global ulti-wombo combo between the Athena and Ratatoskr, or you can have an easy setup, a taunt into the root crush combo from Scylla.
Yeah, this core is actually pretty nasty, right? Like you said, you have the double globals, the Athena, the Ratatoskr. They can get across and gank lanes very easily, more specifically the soul lane, and then so much setup for the Scylla. Evolve here, they've got maybe 2 of their core. If that Soul's going mid, they're looking to round out their lineup, and you can never go wrong with the Bacchus.
Can't go wrong with the Drunk Man. He's just going to belly flop in. It's going to set up the Soul pretty efficiently. It's very tanky as well. You don't have to worry about the Nemesis on the flip side. It's already been banned. And some Hunters taken off the table.
The Medusa kind of makes sense, right? We don't really see Medusa too much in the meta, but when she is picked, she's almost primarily paired with that Athena. You have that guaranteed Petrify stun, assuming their Purification's down. Hou-Yi makes sense as well. I mean, Soul's out, so you take out the other high priority Hunter, just in case that Soul's going to go mid, and then Xbalanque. So more of that anti-global presence. Evolve don't want to deal with the double global lane of Athena's Xbalanque and the potential for Ratatoskr ganks on top of that.
And because Cyber Bullies banned away the Raven means that they might pick a pretty passive god in the soul lane. Raven, one of the best gods in the soul lane to be a bully, so we'll see what their soul lane option is. But Evolve gonna take the Anhur, and their last pick could be potentially the soul lane.
More than likely. I mean, I don't really see Soul or... I mean, we've seen Bacchus soul lane from Xaylia, but that's a pretty high level of play, and it's a real high level of spice. Cyber Bullies are going to draft their soul laner, though, Sun Wukong, so Evolve have the counter matchup. And the Hunter's going to be Chiron, so we see him played in the mid sometimes, not so much in the dual lane, though.
Not that much, but that's specifically only realistically on Panthera that run the Chiron middle. We haven't really seen many other teams other than Panthera run the Chiron mid.
And it's going to be a last pick Odin, so really good matchup against that Chiron as well as the Athena. You know, any supports without, you know, any jump abilities, Odin's really good at locking in and picking off early. And then Ratatoskr and Sun Wukong, both are going to be forced to ult to get out of that cage.
That's true. It's a very nice counter pick. It's going to synergize pretty efficiently. On top of this, the Susano can line up the Typhoon pretty efficiently, the Intoxicate, and the Soul area of effect damage is just going to be a great addition to this Odin cage.
This is a really well-rounded comp coming out from Evolve, I think, and that Odin's just going to probably pay them dividends if he can make it out of the soul lane. But introducing your teams on the blue side, we're following them right now. It's going to be Cyber Bullies. It's GypSYfArt. Okay, in the solo lane, Cleaning Sauce is going to be jungling Ratatoskr, MG Hulk 97, the mid lane Scylla. TheeDavo is going to be the supports Athena, and then Phurium, your hunter on Chiron.
So I heard about collecting the tears of the gypsies that could be a medical relief.
I'm not going to let you go into this one. Evolve, Inbowned is going to be your solo lane Odin. Unending Hell is going to be the jungle Susano. The BlackCrayon, your mid lane Soul. Watts, the support Bacchus, and then your hunter on Anhur, Murktality. So, but really, GypSYfArt, that's the best. He's doing it intentionally, too. Look at all the X's. This is a complete troll.
You're not a true Xbox native player unless you have a few X's or Z's in your name somewhere along the line.
They got to be the mix of uppercase and lowercase too. No numbers though. Got to give him credit for that.
Dude,
as no numbers.
I'm thinking of just Dustin420 right now.
Dustin420, the one true player. I don't even
to rule
know
them
what
all.
to say about that. Early game though, pretty standard. No invades just yet. The Ratatoskr actually not going to be joining his solo laner in the solo lane. He's actually just going to be having this early rotation gain a little bit of presence in mid.
And with that, they're going to be able to make the first rotation towards those right side Harpies. Evolve recognizing this, going to split it 1-for-1. They don't want to contest quite yet, even though Susano would be pretty strong in the early 2v2 exchanges. The issue is the fact that the Sun Wukong made the early rotation. They didn't want to fight in the 2v3 spot.
Maybe a little bit of nerves on Cyber Bullies. You saw the Ratatoskr actually dash through the mid camp, but accidentally reset it. He had to go back and he missed the fire munchels because of that. This is main stage, right? That's something you always got to talk about at this level of play with the amateur players is, are they nervous? Because you don't want to be nervous heading into these matches. This determines if you go to relegations or not.
Well, I'll tell you what, TheeDavo, the way he's been playing this Athena already, I've seen him clear the way very efficiently by dashing through the wave, clipping the Bacchus with the reach, absorbing the minion aggro, dropping his third ability on the whole wave, and then as a result, he's still being aggressive. He finds the ton afterwards, and this time around, Bacchus and Anhur not allowing him to clear the wave.
Oh, Bacchus could be in trouble, though. He used his dash. He's not going to die, more than likely, but he is knocked back, so he's going to take a fair amount of poke. The archers hit him, too, so he's going to be burning through his potions. Not what Watts wants to happen in this early game. And Normally it's the Anhur controlling the lane, but against a Chiron Athena, this is not going to go too easy for him.
Well, this Athena and Chiron, they also have really good ward control. Look at their boars and the top left harpies. We don't normally see these kinds of wards this early in the game, and the way the Athena's been playing, it leads me to believe they want to make an early play maybe on invading the boars.
Also makes sense, you know, you're up against the Susano. Unending Hell has a lot of rotational power, and if you're pushed up, there's always that option to be ganked, but mid lane, we actually see the Ratatoskr and Scylla holding their own for now. It doesn't seem like anyone really has an advantage. The Ratatoskr, based on his early rotation, was able to get level 5 first, but Susano and Sol are going to be right behind him in that regard.
And it's all about the level 5 for the Scylla. She wants to follow up off of the Athena, forcing out the Purification from Unending Hell. Gonna dodge the Crush and force the ulti out of the Rat.
That was so unfortunate. The Susano almost had that kill. He actually hit level 5 from the Sol, killing the creeps there, and it was at first a really good initiation from the Ratatoskr. He found the Purification on Susano, but then he got pulled back into the tower. Really good job on Unending Hell in that fight.
And that could be an advantage to force out more aggression onto this Ratatoskr. He does have the Rat, doesn't have Purification, so he could get chain CC'd before he even dashes away.
I think that's something that they're going to be paying attention to. Athena, though, impaled into the wall, but Murktality not level 5. The Athena's still going aggressive.
He doesn't really care right now. The Anhur and the Bacchus are still level 4. Phurium is level 5, so there's a lot of return damage if the Anhur and the Bacchus decide to commit to the kill.
And Athena actually going to be doing her boars, splitting the red too, it seems. If this is something that Evolve smell out, they might be able to find a kill, but they're not going to go no just yet. And this Athena is actually going to soak up a lot of farm in the early game.
She has to be absorbing the farm to make the plays in the mid lane. She hasn't made a presence quite yet. Coming up at the 3.5 minute mark, the speeds and the reds are starting to be taken off the map off of their first reset. And I'm really liking the style that Cyber Bullies will have with their support jungle and mid. They just have to be able to group up and make these plays.
Yeah, I'd like to see that Athena start making her presence known in mid lane, and it actually seems like she's going straight there, going to leave the Chiron alone to find that solo farm and potentially start burning some Purification. We know the Susano's is down, and that's something that Cyber Bullies should have the timer on and probably look to set up a kill or at least some poke damage. And there's the first taunt, but no follow-up.
There did force the Purification out of Sol. A little bit of a panic. The Scylla really wasn't in position to get off the Root Crush combination, so a little bit of nerves on BlackCrayon.
Can we actually hover over Athena? I want to see if she's maxing this taunt, or if she... Okay, so she is maxing the taunt. So this is clearly a designed play where Cyber Bullies are going to be looking to set up through this Athena, and they're actually already taking a peek into the jungle, but speed buff's already been picked up.
And that's the smart move that you have to do with an Athena. To have the level 3 taunt, it's going to be a 1.5 second crowd control to allow the follow-up from your mid and from your jungler. The damage that you get from shield wall is good, but the extra half a second can set up an extra ability or two for the rest of your teammates and maybe find a kill.
And we do see that difference in play. Sometimes... Oh, he's okay. I guess he just wanted to clear the lane quickly and come back. A little bit surprising coming up from the Chiron, burning his ult there, but I don't think he's going to be fighting too much, and he's just going to get a little bit of lane control. Probably has enough gold to finish off his Transcendence. Pretty good timing, 5 minutes in, no kills on the board.
Exactly like you mentioned, it's just a timing play. It's a very safe, clear the wave right away. You don't overextend really by using that ultimate from a distance. You have the Transcendence and the boots once, so now he's going to be able to get to the lane. He has a little bit of mobility, but the Anhur, he's going for a more aggressive style. He's going to try to finish off the Warrior Tabby right away with a Death Stole.
Ooh, dash in and a two-man taunt followed up by the Crush, a little bit of damage, and here comes Susano's ultimate. He's trying to counter-initiate, but this is trouble for TheeDavo. He's going to be able to make it into the tower, and no mana onto the Susano to chase.
And beautiful, beautiful job by Hulk, finding the first blood and the reset. Going to connect on the Bacchus, so there's going to have to be a disengage out of Evolve. Not much mana on the side of Susano. Meanwhile, in the solo lane, a boxing match. Odin Cage been out, and not enough mana to use the ultimate, and Farts is going to fall.
Inbowned, getting the better of that 1v1, and like you said, it was really about the mana there. Not enough on the side of the Sun Wukong. Couldn't get it off in time, and overall, though, that's Sol getting first blooded. That's one of the strengths of Scylla is if someone doesn't go boots, which the Sol went into Dew Orb, they're so much slower and easier to line up. And off of that aggression, Cyber Bullies, they're going to be able to pick up the first Gold Fury.
And didn't have the Purification early on to deal with the initiation from the Athena, which was really important. Just too much poke damage received, and just inside that execute threshold for the Scylla, I'm a monster. Found the Bacchus as well. It forced all the members of Evolve to really dissipate because the Susano didn't have much mana also to contest the Gold Fury.
And you know what's surprising is that Evolve didn't try and pick off Athena at the start of the fight. She dashed in, found the two-man taunt, but immediately knocked up. It really seemed like they were a little bit hesitant to go in and dump everything on a support. But at this level, now's the time to pick off the support players.
Especially when it's going to be that early game Bacchus. He doesn't have, purification that we see out of some supports that try to basically negate a lot of crowd control. But in this spot, it would be a good idea to go on these supports.
Bacchus also going into the shoes of the Magi, so he's not going to earn as much gold as the Athena with those Traveler shoes, but at the very least, he's going to do a whole lot of damage.
With the shoes of the Magi, especially if he's drunk, having that extra magical power, he's going to be very resilient. And this is the beauty of the Bacchus. You don't have to go that early defense the same way the Athena might opt to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's really about the Chug giving you the bonus protections. TheeDavo, though, gonna be knocked up. Susano, oh, he's just off the mark. He doesn't let the ult go early, and Soul's gonna burn hers as well. Evolve, they miss another opportunity with that Athena very far pushed up.
I like the idea of trying to hold on to the Susano Typhoon to get extra damage and make it, maybe find a secondary target with the Typhoon, but if your primary target is gonna be the support, you have no time to waste.
Watt's in trouble. He's gonna be taunted, absolutely shredded too. Davos finds the kill, the rotation from the Odin though, and it's gonna be good. Cleaning up, cleaning sauce before he can get that ultimate off.
And this is just goes to show how much damage an Odin coming out of the soul lane will do.
That was absurd.
Coming from the mid-side Harpies, just no time to react for the Rat.
I mean, he's only got boots, and that's, I mean, a lot of that was allowed because he got that 1v1 kill against the Sun Wukong, then made the rotation. Something a little bit surprising, though, is I know the Sun Wukong got Gold Fury, but he's still 700 gold ahead. Is this, I mean, I don't know if this should be happening after you found the 1v1 as the Odin.
It could be a combination of the fact that the Sun Wukong was getting Fire Giant elementals constantly. It could be the fact that the Sun Wukong is maybe denying some of the minions under the tower also.
He clearly has at least the lane advantage, despite getting 1v1'd overall, and XxGypSYfArtZxX doing a really good job. Unfortunate, though, a little bit slow on the rotations, which allowed that Odin to find that kill.
And that could have been another reason. The Odin might have sacrificed a wave to make that early rotation.
Yeah, that's probably the mainstay thing that happened. Cleaning sauce, though, on this Ratatoskr. He was able to, I mean, it's already paid off, right? You get the first Gold Fury. Does that make it worth that point? I mean,
one Gold Fury around the 7 to 8 minute mark is good, but you have to constantly make these plays for the Gold Fury, as well as the Wrath will be that secondary stunt for the Ratatoskr. You clip people with your Acorn Blast, and then you have the secondary stunt to continue the chase afterwards.
Taunt. TheeDavo continuously being as aggressive as possible. And he's like, this is really good for him because he's already shown that he's willing to be that front line, to be aggressive, to even, he hasn't died just yet, but he's willing to put himself in a position where he could potentially die or get turned on as long as his team can find the return kills.
And he doesn't have to worry if there's going to be no follow-up damage in that early laning phase. The minions were coming together anyway, so his idea was the fact that he burned a purification from BlackCrayon earlier on, so he was like, okay, I'll just gonna keep taunting and then maybe get a purification out of you guys.
Well. That's like one of the strongest points about Athena is like, you have to be so worried as the other team, like, okay, he taunted me, but is there any position for this?
Beautiful purification, preventing the knockup, and going to use the ultimate, catching the second one. The third one connects as well, but doesn't have enough cooldowns to confirm the kill quite yet.
He just needs one more basic masterful shot's going to find the kill, but it took BlackCrayon so long to get it that the Soul was able to rotate in and finish him off. Ratatoskr, though, trying to pick off this Odin. It's going to be a lot of CC, and there's the Rat finding the kill. Susano's ult comes through, but it's not enough to kill the Scylla, and Cleaning Sauce still pushing forward, plucked back in by Unending Hell, but it's a retreat for Evolve. They're not able to get anything off of this.
Gypsy made the rotation, was staying in the Soul lane during that rotation from the Odin, getting the left side mid-Harpies, and the fact that the Odin fell now, Gypsy has a pretty good lead, already 1 level, and 900 gold ahead.
He could probably rotate in and take that tower. Oh, Hulk! Oh, that Intoxicate was up. I think that was a kill. That would be really close.
Yes.
I think the Intoxicate secures the
kill. It was
a
level 2 Intoxicate on top. Definitely should have found the Intoxicate immediately after the belly flop.
A little bit worried there. Watt's trying to hold his ult, but doesn't get the return kill. Should have happened right now, though. Cyber Bullies still in the lead. They got that first Gold Fury, 3K up ahead. Kills pretty even, though. Good rotational power from that Odin specifically, but because he's so fine in experience, so far behind in experience and levels, I don't know if that's going to matter.
And that's the situation where Odin constantly falls behind. He gets just not as good compared to some Wukong. Odin relies a lot of damage on the initiation, some slows from his third ability, and the space control providing from his fourth, but he's not in a position to rotate. His teleport is down.
So this is going to be a free Gold Fury. Susano's the only one with Wrath and Evolve. If they want to stop this, I mean, they've got to get it now. They're waiting a little bit too long. BlackCrayon disapparates in, but it's already been taken. Second Gold Fury of the game at only 11 minutes and 40 seconds and a 4,600 gold lead. Cyber Bullies are really controlling this game.
Division control favoring Cyber Bullies. Evolve, they had one on the top and bottom side of the mid-heart.
It's all around it.
But they didn't see the actual Gold Fury pit. They needed somebody to spot it out. Susano was by the speed buff, and that's the only possible contention because he has the Wrath.
I think the big thing there was just Cyber Bullies' intelligence as Phurium and Murktality continue to go at it. But Phurium's had the better end of this. Desert's Fury going to come out, and Phurium's just going to back off. That ultimate's down, which means he has a better opportunity to find the 1v1 at a later time in the lane.
And Phurium's in-hand kits will provide a little bit of sustain. Susano trying to take advantage, although the aggression. Going to use the ultimate, trying to clear the wave, but it was a little too early. And without that immunity, going to miss the knock. A beautiful Sanctuary preventing a lot of damage.
And there's the knockup, but the jet stream already completely red. Athena ult on top. Phurium's coming in, and here comes Ratatoskr. Finds the knockup on one. Going to chase onto Murktality. The stun is solid. Sanctuary going to buy Murktality a couple seconds, but the taunt guarantees his death, and Unending Hell falls as well.
So we talk about the initiation, but the counter initiation is even better. The Soul and the Bacchus making their presence known, but they're not really committing to this team fight. They're just
back off.
They're outnumbered. It's 4-on-2.
They have to back off. Odin actually making the rotation, but this time XxGypSYfArt is right behind him, so he knows this is happening. So does the rest of his team. Phurium was ready for it, but Phurium, like, shoutouts to him for those charges, right? He got, what, 2 or 3 knockbacks off in that fight?
You have to be able to disengage, but you also have to multitask and find the right knockups, and that's exactly what he did. He also baited himself out pretty well, and BlackCrayon's just baiting himself out to the graveyard.
Disapparate, though, going to keep him alive. He's still going to be chased. XxGypSYfArt finds the kill, and now looking for Watts under the tower. The Bacchus, he's not tanky enough, and Inbowned is going to be forced to burn his ult. XxGypSYfArt still trapped inside the tower, and he might be able to get out with the Ox, just barely. The meditation saves his life.
I love the timing, just being so patient, no fear at all, waiting for that cage to come out, and then popping the meditation, surviving against that last tower hit. And with that, there's going to be a nice one-man advantage in the mid lane. Phurium taking a lot of poke from that Typhoon.
Inbound trying to make something happen right now. Very low, has the Aussie proc, but just going to back off. And Cleaning Sauce is coming in for the rotation. The Odin turns his attention back to the Chiron, but he's in his ult. Still doesn't matter. Doesn't find the shots to get the revive. And Inbound answers back. Third kill onto the Odin out of the 4 Evolve have.
Cyber Bullies just unfortunately overextended a little bit slightly. Phurium needs to respect the fact that he has to be farming as a hunter whenever he can. You don't really want to be wasting time in these team fights if you're not going to get anything out of it. The tier 1 tower push was completely negated by that Odin cage earlier on, and the fact that the Sun Wukong was so poked out, you don't really have a front line. As a result, he got poked out and he died.
And Brown poked out too, but he's just going to retreat. Was a little bit worried in that situation. And I mean, overall, Cyber Bullies are just, they seem to be the better team when it comes to fighting. And you know, I know Phurium didn't get a lot of farm there, but the trouble is Evolve isn't really farming. Like, the Odin has 3 kills, but he's down over 1,000 gold, and also level-wise, he's down 1, which shouldn't happen.
In the mid game, it doesn't matter quite yet, but it will definitely show in about 5 minutes or so. This Sun Wukong's going to hit level 20 first. He's going to be able to finish off all his items before the Odin will, and his presence will definitely be a huge factor. Evolve has to worry about Gypsy going into that backline.
You can see Gypsy, decent on the damage, second highest for his team, third in the game. But the Ratatoskr, we haven't really talked too much about Cleaning Sauce. What is that? It is Cleaning Sauce 23. But he's been doing a really good job. He is not afraid to follow up off his Athena.
He's been doing a great job counter-initiating in the duel lane. We saw the Athena and the Ratatoskr holding off that Susano gank earlier on, which allowed Phurium to also survive. It was just a beautiful bait, switch and bait.
And look what he's doing now, just like, there's no buffs up for him to take, but he's just getting the vision. He's resetting the timers as well, seeing if there's anyone he could fight in the jungle. Level 14 right now, one of the higher levels in the game.
This is aggressive positioning out of Cyber Bullies. They have Phurium into the Fire Giant pit.
Are they going? No, they're starting it.
They used I'm a Monster immediately instead of trying to get the confirmed kill onto it.
A little bit surprising. Now, Unending Hell know this is going on. Cyberbullies have to drop the Fire Giant. A little bit too quick on the trigger there was Hulk finding the Scylla ult. Yeah, I mean, he could have saved that for the kill secure. You don't need to burn it that early.
Yeah, you definitely have to make sure that you know where the enemy is as well. It seemed like more of a forced play to bait out Evolve into a team fight, but now without I'm a Monster, I don't know if Evolve saw that was used though.
I think Unending Hell, he was really close. I mean, there was no wards on it, but Gold Fury is going to be spawning, and now I'm a Monster is not available. That's going to be a problem for Cyberbullies in this fight, and Evolve, no, like you said, they need to take advantage. Blink is online for Odin, but it's going to be TheeDavo to start the fight.
Yeah, Athena's going to set up Phurium for a couple shots off of his ultimate in the backline. The Wukong doing a great job penetrating. Supernova being used.
Cleaning Saw still alive, somehow going to dash out, trying to get up to the sky. The jet stream, it might be enough. No, the dot doesn't kill him. XxGypSYfArt's already taken out BlackCrayon though, and still pushing forward deep into the tier 2 tower while the backline tries and deals with this Odin. But it's going to be Murktality finally answering up against the Athena. XxGypSYfArt just doesn't have enough damage. Everyone Evolve low, but they've come out on top of this fight overall.
Odin doesn't have the jump, and unfortunately the Tiger Stun just not on the mark. Phurium missing a few in hands, but look at this. Odin still wants to stay in. He knows the Tiger form is down, doesn't want to commit. His teammates are too low, and they have to reset. Looking at the relics though, the Odin still has Blink, could potentially find an engage, but the Gold Fury not being started.
I think he's just trying to play safe right now, but it's going to go aggressive on Phurium. Quickly charges away though, and XxGypSYfArt's actually made the rotation back, and Brown is going to be forced to use that cage. Knows he's going to die if it's a 1v1. Still hanging around though, he's going to jump forward. He finds the bird, but the cage, it drops the second after the damage hits. Susano trying to clean up the kill, and Unending Hell will find it.
Beautiful use of the mechanics. He used the primary dash to cut the distance, used the jet stream to cut the distance, and by those two cooldowns being on cooldown, his movement speed increased and allowed him to chase the kill.
I'm a Monster, still available right now. Phurium actually just getting absolutely shredded at this Gold Fury, and no way Hulk can make it in. It's got to be the Athena in first, but actually Scylla went to the mid lane. I think that might have been a possible contest, but just playing it safe, and Evolve finally answered back. Only a 3k difference now.
I'm surprised they didn't try to contest that. I'm a Monster was up and available, and that's a lot of damage for a level 15 Scylla.
Look at the purification. Everything's down. No one would have been able to counter the Athena taunt outside of the Anhur.
Even if it is a 3-on-5, it's a good 3-on-5 because of those important cooldowns. The easy setup, unfortunately not taking that contest to Cyberbullies, giving that second Gold Fury to Evolve, allowing them to cut the distance just slightly.
I mean, 3k right now, that's pretty good. Oh, Cleaning Sauce knew he was in trouble. Just no hesitation, ults away. Wants to make sure he stays safe. It's always better to burn that ult and avoid a gank than, you know, try and hold on to it and get killed by an Odin.
Especially if you have the Jotun's Wrath. You don't really have to worry about your cooldown not being ready for the next team fight. You're basically farming anyway.
No Gold Fury up to contest, no buffs really, so safe play.
Just farm and chill.
Just farm and chill. Is that's the solo laner motto, not the jungler.
Well,
that's the Anatoly motto. Farm and chill.
I like that motto.
Yeah, that's
you
all
want to join me? You want to farm and chill?
Solo dolo YOLO, or what is it? Solo YOLO.
Solo dolo YOLO.
YOLO. Okay, that's the order. But Bacchus, Watts, trying to get aggressive right now. 0, 1, and 2. We haven't really seen him make too big of an impact in the fight. It's really been Unending Hell in that Susano. We've seen the Typhoons hit multiple targets, and it's actually a pretty large grouping at the Fire Giant for only 20 minutes into the game. I mean, no one really has a massive lead to try and force or bait this. Still, though, setting up for it, just want to get ward control.
It's all about the position battle between these two teams. Both of them have extraordinary abilities to have the space that they need to. Cyberbullies has the obvious Athena-Scylla combination, but I love the fact that this Susano can really synergize off of the Bacchus and the Odin.
And we've seen that as well. We've seen Evolve able to find those return kills. Unfortunately for them, 4 of them are on the Odin. The Odin actually going into an interesting hybrid build. So he's got the breastplate and the Yods for max CDR, but he doesn't have any health in his kit.
No, and that's something that could potentially bite him later on as this magical defense will come online.
Perfect.
So much damage from the Supernova, but unfortunately Defender of Olympus not in time to save his life. But look at this, the Typhoon comes out. Beautiful disengage from Scylla.
Just barely, though, and Evolve is still going to be grouped up. You can see the rotations from the Hunters. Phurium's going to be there a little bit faster. And Evolve seem to want to siege this tier 2. They do have the soul. Oh, and it's going to be a pluck by XxGypSYfArtZxX. He might have to burn his ult a little bit earlier than he wanted to, but the counter initiation goes forward, and Brown's going to be forced out. The Chiron ult's coming through. Not enough damage to secure a kill, but at the very least, forcing Evolve back. Great
Zoning from Gypsy. Look at all the members of Evolve just so low. The Ratatosk's in the air, waiting to initiate. Going to knock up BlackCrayon Root a little off the mark. The crush is, as well as Bacchus was belly flopping, and finally the rotation coming out from Murktality.
And Gypsy going to be burning his meditation there. Here comes the Athena ult as well. She died at the start of this fight, and I think it's going to be a wash overall. I mean, if there's someone that's going to be aggressive, it's going to be Cyberbullies in there. The purification forced out of the Anhur by the Athena has to jump back to his tower, and now Cyberbullies could look to siege this tier 1. Unending Hell is going to go back, and there's 3 players that have been poked out a bit, but instead the team's actually just going to kind of hang around in this jungle area.
I like the idea that Murktality had before he rotated for the team fight. You know, clear the wave. They had a 4-on-4 in the mid lane. I'm going to get at least 1 free wave in, but he could have stayed and get that tier 1 tower earlier on. They didn't really want to commit to the tier 1 mid tower anyway.
Oh, the taunt is going to be good on Murktality. He's got no way to counter this, and in goes the Sun Wukong. 1 health. The Odin ring's going to save his life, and XxGypSYfArtZxX gets up into the cloud a second before death. TheeDavo still trapped inside. Hell has actually picked up Phurium, and the backline just left unnoticed.
And nowhere for him to go. His Sanctuary was used as well. Just a beautiful flank. That's what you have to do as a jungler. Wait for that right and prime opportunity to catch anybody slipping. And whenever you find the Hunter, now this is going to expose Cyberbullies' tier 1 mid tower.
Speaking of slipping, Cyberbullies had a 6K lead, or nearly a 6K lead at one point, and now it's been reduced to only 2,000, just a little bit over. And a really good job from Evolved, specifically playing around their Odin. We've really seen a lot of those kills come off of the back of that cage.
I like the patience from this Odin, not wanting to commit to the red buff. He used the bird bomb jump already on it, so not going to be able to clear it. He has pretty good vision on the fire giant, so they're going to position themselves around this tier 1 in the left side.
Here we go again. 2-man cage. Immediately Cleaning Sauce gets out. Athena's trapped inside, but there's no follow-up damage as 2 players from Evolve had rotated the left-hand side to get that tier 1 tower.
And that's what you have to do. You force out a lot of members to worry about the fact that tier 1 is exposed. It was a 5-on-4 in Evolve's favor for a little while, and what did they do? They forced the issue on the left and mid. They got the tier 1 left.
And more importantly is Murktality has come back into this game after being over 1,000, I think it was 1,500 at a time, behind the Chiron. He's almost equal in build at this point. A little bit of a different path, obviously, built into the Devos instead of the Transcendence. Also picked up that Executioner a little bit, a slot later. Excuse me.
The Fire Giant just contesting for those wards. Cleaning Sauce getting the shorter end of that trade.
24 minutes in, though. Fire Giant might start to creep into the minds of everyone. Gold Fury's still up, so both main objectives for the teams to take, and it's really been about Cyberbullies. They've kind of been incredibly passive after running through this Athena in the first 10 minutes of the game.
And a little bit of that is they forced a Fire Giant earlier on, and that's probably where they thought that they had the lead. It's like, okay, we're just going to force this Fire Giant with our lead, but that wasn't the right approach to extending your lead. You have to be slow and steady with it. You ward around the Fire Giant, and you keep forcing the issue.
Well, here it is, the forced issue. 1-man taunt Disapparate's going to be good, and now it's going to be trouble for TheeDavo. He's going to be knocked up, pulled back in, and then knocked up again. Unending Hell finds one. The Scylla ultimate is off the mark, and Supernova dissipates the team. Cyberbullies, they're already down to death right now. Murktality trying to escape in the back line, and he might be successful. XxGypSYfArtZxX, not enough damage. Finally gets the kill, but quickly answered back by Unending Hell.
So far, it's been a 2-for-1 trade in the favor of Evolve, and they're going to want to extend this. It is going to be the Phurium trying to zone away any sort of aggression. The teleport does come online, and the speed buff going to be taken, but Evolve just slow and steady. Gold Fury is available if they want to go for it.
Once a really good, a really good fight by Evolve specifically. They're just countering out that Athena when he found the knockup. Just everyone immediately piled in off of Watt's initiation.
And mid lane right now, tier 1 tower going to get aggressed. It's 3 on 3 in the backline, however. Odin trying to zone out, not wanting to commit. Bacchus
goes in?
He goes in, but there's no follow-up. He's going to fall instantly. Phurium finding the kill.
He was so low, just saw red in his eyes, and now BlackCrayon is going to have to be forced into these mid-harpies. Unbound, making the rotation, doing a little bit of poke, but he does get the Sanctuary out of the Chiron.
Definitely wants to avoid the Stellar Burst damage, but look at this. TheeDavo wants to go in with the taunt. Phurium, however, just wants to back off. The Gold Fury is still available. Because of the pick onto Watts, that could be a free gold for Cyberbullies, but they have to make sure they don't give up Fire Giant. It is the 25-minute mark.
Well, the Sun Wukong's teleported in. He's going to be on zone duty with TheeDavo there, and they might actually go aggressive, but the taunt's off the mark. That's so unfortunate. And here comes Susano, finds a 2-man knockup, and Odin goes in. BlackCrayon's already taken out Phurium. 2 locked inside the cage. Nowhere for TheeDavo to go. It's going to be Unending Hell finding his 5th. Gypsy's going to be able to attempt, to make it out, but he's going to be chased down and slowed. And here comes Murktality over the top.
That's going to be 4 dead on the side of Cyberbullies. Just great area of effect and great space control coming out of this Odin. The Typhoon was the thing that sparked that whole team fight. They weren't able to initiate onto Odin initially with the Athena taunt, and as a result, there weren't that many abilities left on the table for Cyberbullies.
And the team's not even looking at the Gold Fury right now. They're grouping up, trying to siege these towers. Tier 1's going to be free. No one is spawning for another 10 seconds, and that's only an Athena. The ultimate is down, so they don't have to worry about Cleaning Sauce initiating in that 2v5. And it's just going to be 2 towers, quick and clean.
I thought it was going to be a potential follow for a Phoenix because of the fact that Hulk and Gypsy are still dead. But getting that tier 2 tower was guaranteed. They didn't have to go for the Gold Fury right away. Prioritizing these objectives is a very key factor to separating yourself from a mid-tier to an elite level team.
And Ratatoskr doesn't have his ultimate available, so this is going to be free. And after a 6K gold deficit, Evolved has swung it in their favor, 9,000 in total, so 3K in the lead, and a really good job for really finding these counter initiations onto TheeDavo.
And it's not even a matter of which team is in the lead right now, because either team can easily win a team fight. We saw the last one how Susano initiated it. If Athena can initiate allowing the Scylla to follow up as well as the Chiron, then we could see the opposite end of that.
That's what we haven't seen. We haven't seen the Athena and Scylla synergy. It's really been Athena and like the Sun Wukong or Ratatoskr. The comp is designed around taunt into I'm a monster, but we haven't seen Cyberbullies execute that just yet. I don't know if that's a little bit of timidness coming out of the Scylla or whatever it is.
And Phurium and the left side's just split pushing. Meanwhile, 5-on-4 around the Fire Giant. This could be a pretty easy team fight. They're also going to force the Fire Giant.
It's under 50%, but there's no Wrath for the Susano. Ratatoskr does have his online. He just needs to get close. Fire Giant's already fallen, though. It goes the way of Evolve. They're going to cage in 1. Awesome Sauce forced up to the sky, and here comes Gypsy in the middle of 3, but I don't know how he's going to stay alive.
He found the stun with a Mantle of Discord, barely going into the sky, baiting quite heavily. Phurium still split pushing on the left. He found the tier 1, trying to find the tier 2. Beautiful disengage from Hulk.
And it looks like Cyberbullies will manage to get out without losing a single member. And they do get 2 towers in return, and because of that, the Susano's going to be forced back to base. Phurium can quickly back as well, unless he wants to try and take the 1v1.
Susano against a Chiron, both level 20. A lot of defense on the side of Susano, so he should be able to absorb those in-hits, no problem. Chiron's going to respect that, just disengaging. Finding the tier 1 is Cyberbullies, though.
This is a really intelligent play coming out from Cyberbullies. They recognize that not only did the Susano target the left side, having to deal with that potential split push on the Phoenix, but most of the members of Evolve were on that right side of the map. So they took the free tier 1 tower, they split the group, and they're kind of delaying this Fire Giant push.
That's what you have to do when you don't have the Fire Giant. If you're afraid of taking a team fight straight up 5-on-5, then you have to find the objectives. Finding these 3 towers put Cyberbullies in a decent spot to stay at least relevant in the item categories.
And they're down less than 2K at this point, which is basically an even game at 30 minutes. I mean, it's maybe a team worded a little bit more. Maybe there's a tier 1 item, but outside of that, you could see the Hunters full build on the side of the Anhur. Still a little bit to work on, trying to finish off that Deathbringer more than likely, or potential Malice for the Chiron.
Well, I would say the Anhur has more of a cheap, efficient build, having the Icavile as well as the Rage and Executioner, whereas the Chiron has the Transcendence, where it's a little bit more expensive than the start of the Icavile.
And yeah, I mean, the damage is going to be there for the Chiron, but he's got to finish his last crit item, unfortunately for him. Damage-wise, though, they're about equal. Actually, they're 10 apart. They're 10 damage apart, Tully. Both the Hunters.
10 damage to rule them all.
What?
I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that
Where
one.
was the ring?
There was going to be the one ring. I was like the 10 damage.
If it was a little, the start is there, but you gotta have the meat and potatoes as well,
That's
and then
right.
the finish to cap it off. You only got the start, and it's not even dessert. It's like that really annoying dessert. Anyway, tier 2 siege on the left side by Evolve. They've eliminated most of the towers on the map. Only one left on the right-hand side. They have a couple options. They could go get that tower, strip the jungle, or they could start sieging these phoenixes.
I would rather see them go for these towers and maybe bait out some members of Cyber Bullies, but they're the ones getting baited out. They're taking so much damage.
Oh, 3 inside the cage. There's the knockup from Susano, and the supernova at the top. Here comes I'm a Monster. Hulk has to come up big, but it's not going to be on the mark, and there's already 1 dead for Cyber Bullies. Unending Hell finds the second, and with 3 members poked out, they can't keep fighting this.
Sanctuary was used to prevent I'm a Monster. TheeDavo's going to fall as well as Phurium, so that's 4 members dead. There's just no possible way to hold this. This Meat Phoenix is definitely going to fall, but a lot of members wasting their time to get this last kill.
Cleaning Sauce going to get cleaned up for the final kill of this match, 20-10 in Evolve's favor. They find the Dia side, and they come back from a 6.5K deficit, which is kind of good and bad on both sides. Evolve just showing the strength to transition your style. We saw a lot of those smaller engagements go the way of Cyber Bullies early on, but once that Odin started making his rotations known, just caging in members, and we saw the follow-up from the rest of the team to be able to pick off players.
I think Cyber Bullies' biggest downfall was going for that Fire Giant right off the mark instead of slowly and surely plucking some of the towers away from Evolve. They could have went for a Gold Fury that was up and available as well.
I wouldn't say that was it, though, because they didn't lose anything off that Fire Giant. I guess they lost that.
It just stopped their momentum.
That's
you know,
true.
like they could have just kept going and rolling with their momentum, but then ever since then, that point in time, they never really got the ball rolling. They didn't synergize off of their Athena support pick. The Scylla, unfortunately, couldn't really find the first I'm a Monster was good. It found the reset. I believe it killed the Bacchus and then hit the soul.
It was the soul and then hit the Bacchus.
Then hit the Bacchus, yeah. But then from there, they never really found it for the second time in the mid game, which was the most important time to find it.
For me, though, it was mostly centered around that soul laner setting up Unending Hell on the Susano. We saw the cages, and then Unending Hell, even though he had kind of a hybrid build, just no fear from him in going into these fights. And we saw these Typhoons hit 3 players plus almost every single time.
It was a beautiful Typhoon into the pull to allow the Odin to get off so much damage. And this is the team fight where I believe there was 3 or 4 members dead on the side of Cyber Bullies. And that's when Evolve made the comeback.
Yeah, this is the start of the swing. They got the Gold Fury off of this as well, and just really solid positioning coming out from Unending as well, just finding these players to chase down. I think the Ratatoskr did make it out, but there was already 4 dead, so it was a free objective.
And that's